Very good evening, everybody. Welcome to yet another session of panel discussion. And today it's going to be a very, very interesting topic, especially in your growth phase. It's all about building teams, not just about building teams, but building and managing high performance teams. Because as we all know, that human resources are one of the most important assets which can build or break an organization. Most of us face a challenge, especially in our growth phase. It's all about how to deal with teams and not only deal with them but also to get them perform. And today with me I have four amazing panelists who are quite experienced and who are here to share, or probably I would rather mention it as practicing, because I always like to use this word practicing, because all of us are learning. Every day in our experiences we keep learning, and today we have four wonderful panelists who are going to share their thoughts and techniques or systems that they've got in place which has made their organizations build performing teams. So with me, I'm also going to call Preeti Shah. Preeti Shah is a VWC member and most importantly founder of Organish, and she's going to join me today to moderate this panel. Sorry about that. And along with Preeti Shah, I would like to welcome all our panelists. So first here I have Sonia Thiam. Sonia Thiam is the founder of Black and Beige Creative Hub, and she's from Bangalore. Welcome, Sonia. Welcome to the panel. And then next I have Mr. Sri Ganesh Shukla, who's head of international business, Mahika Packaging India Limited, Mumbai. So I'd like to bring him up to the stage. Next, we have Mr. Sandeep John, Head of Marketing, Prism Force, Bangalore. I would like to welcome him to the stage. Welcome, Sandeep. And last but not the least, we have Sriram Manohar, founder and CEO of Contest Technologies, Chennai. I would like to welcome him to the stage. Yeah. So, with all the wonderful panelists, I would like to leave this stage to Preeti for her. For her to take the discussion forward. Thank you, Preeti. Over to you.
Thank you, Kadambari. Welcome all of you. Thank you so much for spending this time out and joining us for this great panel discussion. I would welcome all of you. And to start, as we know that the discussion is all about the team building and managing the high performance about the team. So I would just like to go ahead with the first question that like if you just like to introduce yourself in a bit, that will be yeah. We can start with Dr. Sonia if we can just go ahead with.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. Well, as introduced, I am one of the founder at Black and Beige Creative Hub. I was a practicing doctor before, and I took a pivot to become a creator, writer, and then move to marketing. At one point, I was heading a marketing, a pharmaceutical in marketing, and then I moved to agency and now own an agency. So that's pretty much it. And I'm so grateful to sort of have this conversation with all of you all here. So nice meeting you all.
Thank you. Mrs. Sriram Shukla, please. Yes, Mr. Shukla, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I can hear you. So sorry. Okay, hi, this is Sri Ganesh. As
Yeah.
discussed, I'm heading the international business division at Mahika Packaging. For the past 15 years, I have only been into plastic packaging. That's all I have been selling internationally. That's something that's very close to my heart. So when people talk about packaging, that's the go-to topic for me always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Sriram, thank you so much. If you can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sriram Manoharan, and I'm the founder and CEO of Contest Tech. I bootstrapped Contest Tech 15 years back with around $10,000. That's all we have. Right now, we are a $10 million company with close to 450 engineers working in India, UAE, and USA. We have two flagship products. One is Mirrorfly and Vplay, which is in the top five in the global listing categories. So that's what it is. So, and thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. Thank you for sparing the time. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Sandeep.
Thank you for having me over, first of all. So this is Sandeep. I lead marketing from a firm called Prism Force. We are an AI-powered talent supply chain platform. But I think, I mean, just personally, I love the topic that we're discussing, high-performance teams, because I think
Yes.
the growth that I've had all through my life essentially is just working with great teams and have the opportunity to mentor a few of them, work with some great managers as well over the course. So I think really excited to, of course, share the other panelists as well. What are some of those tactics that have been working for them? Happy to share what I've done. So looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you, thank you. And as you correctly said, that it is all about the team building, right? So my first question would be like, what are the core components for fostering this high performance within the team and the organization? As you correctly said, that it is the same thing which you have built up your empire on. So we would like to know that more about it, and we can start it with Dr. Sonia on that.
Well, I think the foundation is the key here, right?
Yeah,
Whether it's a different organization, your own organization, I think finding the right talent. And when I say right talent, it necessarily not be what is the degree the person has, or how many experience the person have. I mean, it does matter, but I feel the foundation when I say is the intent of the person, of the team members that you sort of hire. So when I look at hiring for Black and Beige, I look at what is the intent that person comes with, right? Whether the person is here for growth, whether the person is for money, is it a combination of both, or is it just here for experience, right? So I think I have a list of things that I look at. All of these are important, but one thing I sort of cancel is the intent to just be there for the sake of being at an organization and sort of just have that 31st day salary check sort of team members are some exit that I look at in terms of hiring. And when you have set of people who ticks all these boxes of be having that intent is when I think of laying the foundation. So foundation number one. Number two is sort of the camaraderie that everyone has to hold. So this two thing is what I look at to begin with. Right, rest, I think everything falls into place with the right leadership, with the right SOP, as you say, right? But everything has to do with foundation. Everything needs pillars of great DNA, I guess.
great, great. Thank you. So basically, you're looking for someone who can stay and give their inputs to the company, right?
I don't think stay is what I'm looking at. I feel it's
No.
more about I don't mind them leaving in 2 months, but in that 2 months, what are they bringing on the table? I should be
Table.
learning. The team should be learning. That person should be learning, but it doesn't need to be with the longevity of the stay in the company. It has to be what is the person bringing on the table. Yeah,
Performances, right? Exactly.
performance,
Thank you.
performance.
Yes, thank you so much. Can we have Mr. Sri Ganesh's thoughts on this, please?
Sure. Foundation is definitely the key, as Dr. Sonia has rightly said. But for me, it's how much the person wants to continue investing in himself, and the zeal to learn and grow, and learn new things, develop his repertoire, and develop something unique that would be better for the team down the line. Uh, a person who invests in himself, has greater accountability. Will do a better job in my scenario. And another portion that I think is key in building a good profile team is communication. How strong he is into communicating his thoughts clearly. How strong he is, you know, getting to teach his intent, what he wants to do, how he wants to do. So for me, it's the zeal and the communication. That's the core point.
So fair enough. Like we need to have that communication with the team members to build in the same idea. Fair, fair, sir. Very well. Sir, Mr. Sriram, please.
Yes, like Sonia and Sri Ganesh said, I agree that hiring and, of course, having a good zeal and fantastic communication is very important. I've been hiring for last 20 years, even before Contest Tech, right? And one thing I would look at is something that what would be his or her aspirations, because everybody has their own aspirations, correct? And so say, like, let's say that somebody wants to be a scientist, right? Hiring him as a sales guy, will he will never be able to perform. Probably he may want to join or want a job or something, probably after college, or for certain some reasons he may have chosen a wrong, or the path that doesn't suit him, right? And I would always look for what would be his aspirations, like whether the role which I'm trying to give him, basically right people for the right job. And whenever you put the right person for the right job, he will obviously perform, right? And if we put a wrong person for the wrong job, how much ever talented or capable he is, or how much ever hardworking he is, he may not be interested in performing, giving us a high performance. So I'll look for his aspirations and try to match it post employment as well. After onboarding it, I would definitely keep a very look, at least for my core team, the people who report to me directly. Not for, I couldn't do that for all the 400 or 500 people working for
Sure.
Contest Tech, but at least for the 20 to 25 people who I hire personally these days, I'll ensure that, okay, he likes doing this, and we must give him that kind of a job, not just give him something else where he may not be interested in doing it, right? So that's something that I ensure, so that the guys, or all the men, women, everybody gets the right thing for them to, perform really well.
So is it like fit in qualities, right?
Yes, yes. Hiring is okay, but after that,
Yeah.
if he or she is just doing it for, if her aspiration is not, is not the job which she is performing, whatever may be her condition, she is not going to be a high performer.
So
When you hire from
basically
IITs or
assigning,
MITs, they won't do it.
yeah. So basically assigning the right kind of a job profile is the key.
Yes, yes, yes. Make sure the profile matches the person's
Exactly.
aspiration.
Right. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sandeep. Sorry to put you for the last, but can we have your inputs on that as well?
Right. I mean, again, echoing what everyone else has said, right? I think I'll word
Yes,
it slightly
exactly. Yeah.
differently here. One, from the point of when I think of communication, I think of clarity, right? From the point of view of, if you have goals, I think the role of creating an environment where that goal is communicated super clearly to the last person in the line as far as that team is concerned. I would think of things like psychological safety, right? Like, just imagine you want to be able to be in an environment where people are willing to take the risk without the fear of punishment, calculated
Mm.
risks, right? So creating an environment like that, folks like that. Of course, you want to be able to give accountability as well. It's easier said than actually done, because sometimes as managers we fear new people joining. Hey, can I give them this task? Am I putting my head on the line? All of that kind of stuff. And of course, I think treat everyone with the right kind of respect, right? Like, I think that's all, especially when you're dealing with, let's say, the millennial. I mean, I
Correct.
would call myself millennial. I
Maybe
would
Yeah.
millennial,
Yeah.
maybe even Gen Z. Don't treat them any other way. Treat them how you would like to be treated. Like, and I think you'll get the
Yeah.
best work coming out of them, right? So, and this is a generation, believe it or not, is going to be that high performance team for the future, right? So, I think just double click on those kind of things might actually help.
But
Great.
just because you got this, even this last line that Gen Z is the new millennial and Gen Z are the most performing traits. But do you think that is not the same case with the people earlier than that?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Like,
I'm
yeah.
definitely a batch earlier than the millennial. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that your future workforce is going to be
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think companies nowadays, and I'm sure Sriram runs a very large organization, he will see a large number of people coming in who are probably going to be Gen Z, who are at the, let's say, the
Yes.
workforce itself. Managers, of course, will be at a different sort of age category. But to work with that environment requires a whole different sort of mindset, right? It's not your typical playbook. I can't go download a PDF online and say, hey, here's how I run my team. I think you got to
Sure.
figure it out on the way. Sometimes I've done things and burnt my fingers in the past by not relating to the generation. But I think one sort of learns and progresses. And I think the most important, I think I always tell this, and I don't know, it helps me a lot of times in conversations, that clarity is number one, but almost
Yes.
as equally important with the group is mutual respect. Just give them the respect they need, work will get done.
So to sum it up, all of this is like the communication is the skill, I guess. The adaptability is the one thing, and searching it for the right kind of profile. And as you correctly said, that it's in a real time. You need to figure it out how to cope up with the entire team at the same time, right?
On a lighter note, I would like to add that never compare your lifestyle, at least for my age, right? Don't think that, okay, when I joined, I worked like 15 hours, and don't do that with,
Yeah.
because they are totally different. And we can't say that, we can't expect them to do what we did a decade back, right?
Sure,
So
sure.
they have to be treated
So
very.
I think this actually tempts me to probably put another perspective or a question. So while it comes to performance of teams, most of the times it's about two different generations have to work together. So when such situation comes, I think we will be Preeti will be addressing that in the challenge. But I think it becomes quite a big task to a common team with different directions and different aspirations, and if they have to be compensated, it is totally a different ball game, and you really have to work on getting them under aligning them and getting them to perform. So what are your thoughts on that at this stage? Yeah, anybody would you can answer this.
I, I mean, sometimes I'll tell you, make it very quick because my daughter is in college. So I try to, whenever I deal with the generation who has like recently passed out or 5 years or 8 years experience, I'll always try to learn from my daughter. So like how they think and what do they want to do, and something that I interact with a lot of people personally, and on their level, not like a CEO or anything. I go take them out for a coffee and just listen to them and try to understand what they want. And I can't say that I understand them fully, but at least I don't want to give them tell give them a gyan and tell them, okay, this is what you should do or anything. At least I try to understand them and try to match our kind of uh, you know try try to update our approach. That's all I try.
I
Yeah,
feel
Preeti
like
will
open
revisit this.
communication is
Yes.
the key. Open
Yes,
communication is the
yes,
key.
yes.
You have to get into their shoes, into their mindset to really understand what they want. Because I have worked with people who are 64 and 65 years of age. I'm still working with them. They're still in my team, and I'm having adding them. There are people who are 24 and 25. So yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah,
well,
I
I
I
think
feel
think
just
we'll revisit this. Yes, please go ahead. Yes, Sonia.
no, please,
yeah. So
Sonia, please.
communication is key, but more than communication, I think connection is very
Okay.
important. You're
Right.
leading an organization or a group of people, which is whether it's 5 or 10 or 20 or 50. I think connection, sort of bonding, making sure it's not superficial, but you're really, really understanding deep down. Because I think we're in a time where every generation comes with a certain baggage of mental health, personal life, work-life balance issues, and things like that. So it can be a Gen Z who's going through, a lot of uh, spectrum of issues, right? It could be a millennial, it could be somebody above, uh, the older generation, right? 40, 45, 50. Because I've worked with them when I was in the pharmaceutical as well, and there comes also a certain of ego issues and things like that. So how do you really connect with them on a personal level, and when you sort of make them feel safe, uh, and sort of make them feel like, okay, we're here together to do things for greater goods, not just for it's just not superficial. So I think connection is very, very key for me. And I think people investment as a leader is very, very important. I believe someone said there's no company, there's only people, and connection is the key to sort of balancing out the generation gap, is my opinion.
Okay, okay. Yes, do you want to say something, Sandeep, or should
I
we
think,
move
yeah,
to?
everyone's, if I'm just
Yes.
probably repeating myself, but then I think one word I'll use is empathy. I think just empathize, and empathy works all the way around. Us empathizing with them, them empathizing with us. I think that's basically everyone's just said the same thing. So I think
Okay,
nothing more to
okay,
add. Nothing more to add.
cool. Okay. Yes, Preeti, over
Just,
to you.
just
Yeah.
one question I may just ask that: do you think the adaptability is lacking in, competing the two generation? That we are less adaptable about the Gen Z, or they are more less adaptable about our, like, the other millennial people or something like that, which is missing out. That's why the imparity.
I think it depends on culture, no? Culture of
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm asking. Yeah,
yeah.
See, I think it's
Great.
more to do with the intrapreneurial era, because
Yeah.
I think the newer generation is more about, though they are in a work environment, they don't want to be instructed. Probably there needs to be a kind of it's the gaming era. So they want challenges and they want to figure out their solutions by themselves. So more of uh, entrepreneurship is the in thing. So I think it's
But
more of a gig economy, which is taking. I mean, people who handle large teams. In fact, Sriram will be. I should throw some light on this particular point. Especially when it comes to the newer generation's adaptability, as she said. How is that? Do you handle them, or what is that you understand, and how do you cater to them?
See, we are, for us, I mean, I can talk for myself. We are in a tech business, right? So they want to do cutting edge stuff, and so they want to be in the cutting edge stuff. That's their major goal. Even when we try to hire somebody from tech, they ask us what do we do, and they really, and of course, yes, I mean, monetary part works really important. I understand that. That's common for everybody. We can't just bracket one particular generation, but they want to work in a cutting edge tech, and they want to really be do something that's so meaningful than a monotonous job. Okay,
Mm,
just kind of a back office work, like you come and ask them to do the same thing again and again and again, probably
mm,
like few weeks or few months they'll get bored. I mean, they get bored easily, if I have to
mm.
put it very simply. And you have to give them a
Exactly.
cutting edge tech and opportunities, and they are more keen and more ready to learn and ready to contribute. And 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 they don't like saying that, okay, you are relatively new compared to my experience. They don't like it. So because for us tech is always new. When it comes to AI, a guy who finished college 3 years back and me, we both are in same paradigm. We are not in a
Mm,
different space
mm,
altogether. So
mm.
we have to understand that, and try to give them better opportunities. That's what they look for. They are
Look for.
looking for better
They
opportunities.
look for challenges, and the
Exactly, challenges. Yeah.
monotony is something which is not a in thing. They need the vibe. To put it
Exactly.
in the right word, I need the zing, or the vibe is something they constantly keep looking for. Yeah, Sonia.
Exactly.
yeah, I feel like while we're talking the positive aspect of what they come with, there is also, I'm so sorry to be a bummer here, there's a negative aspect also. While they want challenges, there's overwhelming culture that is so vast, especially in a creative hub, when you're running creativity. There's a certain overwhelming culture. Their energy goes up and shoots down in a jet ski, right? So figuring out how to balance that and sort of be there and be like, uh, come back, snap out of it, and you got to go back, come back to the energy again. So that is one aspect that I have myself found very challenging, when managing a lot of Gen Z. My organization is filled with, there's nobody below it's all like younger than 25. So it's a big challenge for me to sort of see the hype of the vibe and then suddenly go down all of a sudden, right? And then there's a time where there's certain escalation that happens. So that is where something we are still finding a little bit of challenge to bridge the gap. But I would love to understand also from each one of you all, like, as a banter here, how do you guys, fix that issue?
So that's the next question, that, how do leaders establish and nurture a culture that drives high performance, especially when we are on the topic? I guess that
Correct.
will bring in a lot of clarity. So can we have
Yes.
anyone who,
Shri Ganesh, maybe you
yes.
can.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure, sure. So for me, I think at this moment of time, a lot of people, a lot of companies and employees look for peace of mind while working. Yes, they look for monetary benefits, they look for work-life balance, but they look for peace of minds as well. So as leaders, we need to understand their requirement, get into their mindset, and offer them that positive balance. And that can only happen when there's clarity of what you want to do, and communicate your expectations properly. And I think the next best option for us to do as leaders is to recognize and reward their excellence. For example, if a job is well done, you need to reward them, or you need to at least acknowledge that to the team entirely. And this can happen when you monitor the progress and provide regular feedback. So I'm totally against the yearly appraisals and talkings and sitting down like once a year or twice a year. For me, I believe that when you speak every 10 days, 15 days, or whenever the opportunity arises, you can nurture a good team. So positive communication and giving feedback, getting feedback, that's the key.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, Sandeep, over to you.
Yeah, I think lead by example as much as you can. It doesn't always work though. You can try to be a certain way. You expect everyone to follow. It may not always happen, but I think that's it. I think I echo with Sri Ganesh's point around rewarding, like as and when you can reward folks, reward them or recognize them. Um, I think this is a very generational thing also. I think sometimes you have to reward the smaller things as well, not necessarily the large, big, impactful thing. So I think I think people like smaller rewards, smaller things. I think it's akin to, maybe I would always relate that to like an Instagram like or follow or whatever, right? So an equivalent to that essentially would be, even if a small sort of project is complete or we hit a milestone in the project, it's worthwhile sort of recognizing that, if not celebrating, but at least taking that kind of stuff, right? And then I think also being able to talk. See, I think a lot of them also want to figure out. I think the general impatience is always there on, hey, what's my growth? What's my future? What's my next that's going to happen? To have constructive conversations around that, right? Not everyone's going to go to the next level very fast. Certain things take time. It requires experience, but being able to at least try to have that open conversation will help at some extent. Yeah, but I think those three.
Okay, yes. Sonia?
Well, I feel like I agree to Sandeep's point. It's sort of even a little even a little accomplishment has to be addressed and say that, hey, you did a good job and it really added value to the organization. You brought things on table. Also, at the same time, sort of never shying from telling what went wrong. I think what happens in today's time is we're so overly, I would use the word toxic positive, where we, just because we want to have that, it's not our fault, it's not anyone's fault. Just to nurture, we overly, diverge towards toxic positivity. And I think as an organization, to have balance, we need to also realize, uh, okay, also give uh, feedback in a way that, if it's not good, how do you give it? It's the key, right? But I think we should also address things that are not right, and make sure it's not hurting them. But that's a challenge again, right? And like I said, I'll go back to my previous points: connection. So when you build that connection, the ability to give the slightest of, or the biggest of negative feedback becomes more easier. So like I said, foundation, connection, and then, you're open to sort of having that kind of uh, the question that you asked, right? It's a kind
Yeah,
of
the
a
best
cycle.
practices, probably what leaders,
Correct.
practices that leaders could adapt. Right.
Correct.
Fine. Yes. Yeah, Sriram, over to you.
Culture is a very complex subject. It is it's a very, very complex subject, and that too high performance culture. Right? And I agree with Sandeep and Sri Ganesh and Sonia here. Yes, rewarding, recognition. Everybody looks. I look for it. Okay, everybody looks for a kind of recognition, which is very important. But the culture and high performance is very key. It's a two different thing, right? First, yes, recognizing, okay, the culture, just this is bit, I don't know if I'm putting it right, ask me if you have any questions. uh, it's about what you're recognizing is your culture. You
Beautiful.
recognize a toxic thing, then your organization becomes toxic. You recognize only people who are very close to you, and that becomes your organization. Everybody wants to be close to you. And if you recognize performance genuinely, and that becomes the culture. It's a top down approach. Culture has never been a bottoms up. It's always top down approach. So culture is about, yes, recognition, communicating, and giving them very good feedbacks, yes. But to whom? Are you going to just give everything to the guy who says yes to you all the time? No. Right? So then everybody wants to say yes to you, and you will never know what's happening, the negative thing in the bottom. So you have to have an open culture, and what you're recognizing as a leader of your team, it could be a 10-member team or a 100,000 people company, doesn't matter. But what the leaders recognize, right? That becomes the culture of your organization, and you
Sriram, I
recognize
think
high performance, and it will become your culture of your organization.
I think Sriram brought a very, very, very important point. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I mean, that's, no matter what, if you don't have the culture right of an organization, everything else that we do is absolutely, it will be a sinking ship. And at this point in time, I would also like to bring another very important point, especially when over a point when it becomes a larger team, most of the times it's only the higher level or the leaders that you get connected to, right? So how do you ensure that that value and culture beyond the books or the training programs that HRs organize, how do you ensure that these leaders carry this to the last member or the latest member inside the forum? How do you ensure it? How do one ensure that this culture um, goes to the last employee who's just joined? How do you monitor that, or your systems or your best practices that you've adapted or you've come across as best practices, please? Sriram, probably since you led it, you can give us an answer here and we can go to the others.
See, there is no compromise, right? If you want to build a high perform, I will, because see, one thing people mistake, as soon as they talk about culture, they talk about cozy offices, right? And they talk about fancy things. They compare it with Google, and they say they have a sleeping room and a bed and whatever you say, that all the expensive things. I do have it in my office. Yeah, so that is. I'm not saying it's not important, but that's not culture. That's just a facility that you provide for your employees to do a better job. That's all. But people always see that as a culture. You having them a fantastic office. No, it is not that. First thing, and second thing, coming back to your question, my first line and
Sriram, I
second
think you
line.
should also answer what is culture then. If that is facility,
That's
what
what
is
I told
culture?
you. Right? What you recognize as a leader of my company, what do I recognize? Right? If I
The
recognize high
values,
performance.
principles, policies.
Wait, I recognize loyalty because I think I can get skills because I got money, I can get any skills I want. But loyalty is a very, very rare. No, loyalty to my vision, right? Somebody who believes in my dream and come into my vision, it's very rare. So whenever I get somebody like not the S boss kind of a thing, no, definitely no. I was like that. I was kind of S boss kind of a thing in the past, probably 10, 15 years back. That ego and everything, but that got shattered literally. I'll tell you some other time. But the thing is, having a good loyal guy who can really comes into my vision is very rare. I'll give a lot of importance to that, and try to understand my vision and try to execute it in the on the floor, even the culture thing, right? So I give a lot of importance to it. And uh, and i i one thing I'll tell you, when it comes to culture also, I hate high performance jerks. I'm okay with a mediocre guy who really does a job, come in 9 a.m., he finishes job at 6:30, goes home, and he finishes task. I'm happy with him. He's okay with me. I don't want everybody to be Sachin Tendulkar or MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli, right? I need Ravindra Jadeja or guys, I'm a CSK fan, sorry. So the thing is, I want these guys also. I'm okay with that kind of a thing. But I don't want high performance jerks in my team. I'll never recognize just because somebody is performing real and he's a judge. He's not giving the team a good, environment, and you go and recognize him just because he's bringing in more value. No, I don't do that as well.
That's cool. That's cool. Yes, Sandeep, your
Can
points.
I'll answer the question, the other question about how teams, as they evolve, culture sometimes, I wouldn't say deteriorates, but it modifies itself into something else. I've seen that firsthand. Right? I'll call out the company as well. Like, you can go my profile, you can figure out. I was at Freshworks for a long time. Like, it's almost 6 years. So I think when I joined the company, I was around employee number 900, approximately. Which means that this is not a small company, right? This is still a very, it's not not exactly, it's a big company, but it always felt like a startup in the positive fashion, positive way, meaning there was this general hustle, being able to get stuff done, ownership. It existed for a long period of time. And then, by the time I left the org, it was around 3,000, 4,000 odd people. It changed into something else. I wouldn't say it changed for the worse. I think it became something else because you could genuinely see it was difficult.
Dynamics change. Yeah.
Dynamics change. It is very difficult to maintain that level of culture when you hit that kind of a number. But that being said, I think a lot of the managers around me, at least, would take conscious efforts to make sure that the old whatever way of doing things were there. I think it really lies on the front line, like who's that first line manager who's right there, right? That's only because you can't expect every single employee. There's only so much HR can do. Like, no matter what program you set and create on your onboarding and all of that, you can only do so much. But sometimes it's down to that manager and first line. It's not like we were like rock stars at it. But I think the good thing was right through. I'm sure even now, it's been a while since I left the organization. Even now, there's the underlying, hey, this is still a startup that did what it did to reach the place that it did. And it came from the ethos of having thought like that, taking ownership, being loyal, all of those points really took us to where we did, right? I think the underlying fact still remains, but as you keep going up, I could see it happening. It's difficult. It's extremely hard. And I don't know how Sriram manages to pull it up, but I think it's like kudos if you're able to. But yeah, it's super
I'm
difficult.
meeting Girish next week. Mostly, I'll pass this. I'll pass this thing.
Interesting, interesting.
You
Yeah.
There's
should.
So
one
I mean,
thing.
as a Girish as a person, I can tell you, right? Girish, I know him. I know him from. We both started together, Contest Tech and everything, right? And actually, I gave my first pitch deck in his office, in his RMG Millennia office to
Wow.
Shekhar Kirani. So I know him from those days. Fantastic person, but I can see he's very humble and very effective, and he's very clear on what he wants and everything. And I could see that in his whole organization. I interview a lot of people, right, for hiring. Hire a lot of fresh work guys. So we do that all the time. But I see that DNA in most of the people. I can't say most of the people. And I've seen a lot of people coming out of fresh desk and start a successful startup successfully.
Actually, Freshdesk is known for churning out startups. In fact,
Yes,
quite a
yes,
lot of
yes,
them. It's more
yes.
Sorry,
a
sorry for being
solutions
the
for.
marketing. Sorry for being the marketing guy. Freshworks. We rebranded like several years ago.
Yeah,
But yeah,
fresh desk.
no, but
Okay.
absolutely right. Like, there was a recent stat which said, I don't know, before this becomes a hijacking of Freshworks agenda, but 70 odd companies
Still,
came out of that.
it's worth
Taking a
mentioning.
real-time example helps, Sandeep. It
Yes.
always helps. Taking a real-time examples that we know, experience, it always helps.
And I think
Yes.
just that create, like, there were 70 startups that came. It comes from that entrepreneurial spirit of like being able to build something within the firm, having that ownership. Like you mentioned earlier, Kadambari, that entrepreneurship,
Intrapreneurship.
it's
Yes.
it's very high in the org. It's very, very high
Yes.
in the org, right? Like I've never seen, like I would have never done things otherwise if not for that org, right? But yeah, good
Beautiful,
example
beautiful.
of a company that
And
did it.
one more point which I would like to make before going to Sri Ganesh is running a community. Though we don't have employees, we have members. So when I actually thought how I can get the culture to the last member, one thing which helped me was more than listing down things that can be done for a good culture, I bought in something called zero tolerance. So this is zero tolerance. So it was easier for me to say this ethics, this code, we have zero tolerance. Anything else is flexible. So does this work in your environment? Zero tolerance for this specifics. Do you think that works? Sri Ganesh, probably you can answer that. Unmute, Sri.
Well, it should work, to be honest, because there are certain things that you should keep zero tolerance on. Racism is one. I don't want to bring that topic, but it is. Yeah, doing work cultures, when you diversify, when you have a lot of people under you, where you have a lot of people of different background, different culture, it does tend to happen. So there are certain things. Yes, I agree. Zero tolerance should be a key in certain things. Yeah.
Awesome. So, any other points that you want to make on this, on the context of culture and
I think Sriram is bang on. I think loyalty is the key. As he rightly said, a lot of people have money. They can buy the right people, but then loyalty through the vision, through what you want to achieve, what the company wants to achieve, that is hard to get. You have to mold that person. You have to get the right people under you. So talent acquisition, HR comes into the picture, and those are the right people to get with them.
awesome, awesome. Thank you, Sri and Sonia.
I feel like the answers are pretty much covered. Sri Ram and Sandeep and Sri Ganesh. I mean, the points are all there, but I also feel like uh, having good, you know, culture is all about having that great DNA in terms of what are the things that everyone is visioning at the same time. I may, as a founder, will have a bigger vision and my end goal, and this is what I want to build in the next 10 years. I also, as a creative hub, I also look at what are these members bringing in, right? What are their vision as well? So we have a thing called manifesto where we all sit together and figure out what is the future we all dream together. So sometimes I have evolved my dream basis my team members. At least at Black and Beige, what we practice is we try and do a lot of disputation with each other, agreement, disagreement, and sort of have a DNA which is very strong, where everybody has something to say and everybody has a strong opinion, and everybody has a vision on their own, of their own, on the organization, just not mine. Because culture is just not about what the founder or the CEO or the directors are visioning, right? It has to be the vision of the employees as well, and that's something I believe in, and that's what us three founders are trying to build. It's hard journey because not all employees want to have a vision. They are there for certain purposes, right? And they move out and they make their own things. But for us, what we're trying to build is that.
Interesting. Great. So, Preeti, over to
Yes.
your
So
next question.
we have most clarity on how, how the leaders are. What are your thought process on that? But can we back your answers with any of those incidents or any strategies that you have built up around your companies that will induce the high performance in your team?
Or probably even quote from, as Sriram mentioned, also quote from some best practices that you've
Yes.
observed from companies,
Yeah.
which probably have worked. Yeah. Sandeep, you can go.
I think for me, two, three things, right? One is, I think, one something that I adopted for the marketing team, and something I just picked up from technology. Devs and all do this really well. They call it scrums, essentially quick catch-ups on figuring out stuff, smaller goals, breaking down the larger goal to smaller goals, frequent catch-ups to make that happen. And it doesn't have to be like a 1 hour meeting every day. Nobody likes that. People generally don't like meetings, but short enough intervals so that, I mean, could be wise to do this like a one Monday, one Thursday kind of
A
catch-up.
quick
Monday was
huddle types. Yeah.
quick huddle kind of that, but it's very clear in terms of the goal is broken down into subsets, into smaller groups, and then clearing out the mission, what's the plan, what's the action. Thursdays were merely checkups to see are we on track, is there something we can do to make sure we're on track and all of that, right? You create an environment like that, and just I think the as much time, I think as a manager, the most important thing for me was, can I get my team outside? I mean, I try to get them not in too many meetings as possible. Like the focus should be on the work, keep the meetings to the most minimal. In fact, I prefer, this is probably just me, working asynchronously was far more effective than sitting and working on like meetings, right? Like I think half the time I was sitting and trying to figure out, do I really need to be on this meeting or not, right? So creating an environment where the team also knows that the focus is on the work. If the work requires you to talk to somebody, collaborate. In marketing, it's very high. Collaboration is extremely high. Then make sure to get it done. But otherwise, if you're not required, you don't need to be there, right? So just making sure that clarity was there, I think that was super important. And then, of course, creating a very strong feedback loop in terms of, I think, like Sonia mentions earlier on as well, right? Like good things are fine, recognizing if something is not working, address it right there. Like don't wait for like the annual appraisal, quarterly appraisal, whatever appraisal. Do it right there and get the feedback and quick. And I think feedback works both ways. As a manager, I always ask my team, is there something I could have done better, or can I do better to enable you to make something happen? If they know they're open to that opinion as well, then things sometimes I feel work better. So I think just these couple of things.
I'll just
Fantastic.
add to point. I think while we also give feedback, I think we as managers and leaders also should be open to taking feedback and sort of agreeing to, hey, I went wrong here, right? And I do that. I do this practice very very religiously. And to answer your question, if I tell all the practices that we have done, most of you all will not agree. We're like, what are you running? You're going to be a flop show in next whatever. But I'll tell you, our working hour starts from 12. So we start office at 12. We don't have huddles. We only have one stand-up twice in a month. And we don't have review system. And we're doing pretty well, I would say. In 9 months' time, we have like very good FMCGs, homegrown brands that we are working with right now. To name a few, we have Frozen Bottle, Happy-Lo. We have, you know, Forum South, Rex Walk. We work for them, and this is built by a team from just 9 months. And I think the huddles really saved a lot of time for us to focus on bigger things. And I think just recognizing, our own mistakes and sort of owning it, doing, just automating that has really helped us. And also giving them time to think a little bit, avoid the traffic, come dot by 12. In fact, people stay till 10 also. So it is sort of a place where people come and just enjoy doing things, and that's what we goal to do. And that's why we don't have regular meetings. I have not done a review in the 9 months that I've begun Black and Beige. So
That's nice.
it could be luck also. So yeah, it has worked out for us.
You are definitely lucky, Sonia.
Or I picked the right
I'm like,
place. Well, you never know, right? It could be that as well.
so another thing, I mean, I'm able to recollect when we had a small team is about the attendance. We tried to bring in a positive enforcement. So we had a group of about 10 people, and constantly we tried to change the fine culture into more a positive thing where anybody who enters, we had one unofficial group where we ask them to take selfies and put it in the group, and anybody who puts the selfie after that time, say if it's 9 9 1, we had a happy box. We kept a box called the happy box, and they had to actually put in some money into that happy box, and end of the month the highest contributor of that happy box, actually we partied with that money, which one extra thing. So it was more like a game, and more it
Em-
became very encouraging to them to do that, because they were rushing in to take those selfies and put it up. And the most amazing thing is, even the most senior person was so thrilled, and it actually brought down the late coming to 0%. Until then it was like fines and half a day leaves, because the minute they are about 10 minutes late, they prefer to give a half a day, because they know that fine anyway they're going to lose that money. So rather this was more encouraging and entertaining. So I think the way we address the same problem in a more positive and a entertaining way really worked for me. So I mean, this just crossed my mind when we were discussing this. Yes, Sri Ganesh, over to
No,
you.
100%, 100%. Because disciplinary measures for such small things, they spoil the work life and work culture in any company. Because these small things go to the mind, you start thinking on this, you don't focus on your work. It's just a waste of time, to be honest. And to be honest, I'm an advocate of positive work life balance. I feel that people should have sufficient time in their life to work and go out as well. It's not only about working 24 into 7 and to make money and just sit over here. They have to spend time with their family, they have to spend time with their kids, with whatever they want, with their hobbies, whatever they want to do. And I think COVID has taught us a lot of things. It has taught us the importance of being with family, because at the end of the day, family is with you each and every day and each and every time. So I feel that it's always important to give flexible hours to your employees. For example, in my company, people come at 9 o'clock in the morning, people come at 11:30 in the morning. It does not matter if they stay 8 hours or 9 hours. It matters if they finish their work. If they finish their work, they can leave. It's as simple as that. So for me, I think promotion of work life balance is more important.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, Sriram.
Awesome.
Over to you, Sriram. Yes.
Sandeep has to.
Sandeep? No, Sandeep started, I guess. Yeah.
Sandeep started. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, I just want to echo something that Sri Ganesh said as well. Again, sorry for bringing back Freshworks into the conversation, but I think one point around how Freshworks
This
did
is
it
the
really
problem with Freshworks guys here.
No, Sandeep can actually make out. You're a product
I'm
of.
just saying. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
well.
just kidding. It's good. It's
No,
good to hear. Please go.
It's
we
nice,
had,
yeah.
I think the point that even Sri Ganesh made, right? Like people come and he doesn't care about the fact, same culture, right? I don't think we never had in time, out time. We had ID card just to get into the building, but other than that, nothing. But there was a very clear, and you'll see this, if you Google this, you'll find this Freshworks wall anywhere. There's always a sign that said, get shit done. And that's basically what it was. That's basically the ethos. That's basically what it. I mean, you're saying, if you're asking, how do you cascade a messaging framework to 10,000 people, 5,000 people? Visible symbol signs around office sometimes can help. We had this across the office in play.
All
And sometimes
times
people
can.
wonder, like, what was this, right? So a visible symbol of something like that would really help. And I think
Sandeep,
it
how
just
many times does an ex-employee
yeah.
speak so much about the company until and unless it's part of your DNA? Like, I mean, that's amazing. Yes, this is the success of Freshworks, the products that have turned out from there. Amazing, amazing. Yes, Sriram, over to you.
I'll, see, the question is about effective strategies for high performance work environment, right? So I'll just stick to that, right? I'll quickly say that in COVID 2020, we didn't know what to do, and everybody went to work from home. and almost 40% of my workstation didn't have a laptop. So we tried to acquire laptop, we couldn't get laptop from the market. So it was crazy. And just 1 year, I grew 100%. And when we grew, not just we just grew, all the tech companies grew. So then we faced great recession. I mean, attrition. I'm sure you heard 10 people coming this side, 10 people coming that side, and it was like that. And after a certain point, what happened is like I didn't know anybody. I used to know all the 300. Those days it was 300 people. I used to know all the people because I hired them. I do final round for every guy who comes into contest tech. But I didn't know. I stopped talking to people and I didn't know what is happening. So this was the situation. Now it's much better. I'm still trying. Forget about 8 hours login or leaves or anything. I'm still trying to bring people to office, right? And the
So true.
moment you force them, they'll put down the paper. So that is a different challenge we are facing today. But one thing that helped me is like I want one thing. I said, okay, forget about communication, everything. This work from home kind of a thing is not going to help this communicating stuff because it's hard, right? So we try, but it's hard. So then one of my employees, I mean team member, came and suggested OKR, objective key results. It really helped. It really helped. See, okay, we are in a place that I have 2 3 offices, right? So I can't go to every office, talk to people or anywhere. But we have to bring all your team employees and team to get to a single point of vision, right? Because you don't know most of them sometimes, right? So what is that? It is like setting up an objective, right? And you try this. I mean, Google has done this. Larry Page is a great, the founder of Google. He's a great advocate for OKRs. It doesn't need to be for your large organization. It can be for small teams as well. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like giving clarity to your team, what they are working for. Yes, you do this project 10 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 days, 15 days. But why they should work? They should have a goal. Okay, I finished this project, what's next? Or I finished this feature, what's next? Okay, I closed a couple of these, what's next? What are they working for? All right? We have to give that to the at least to the top level management. I can't say that we can give it to a fresher who joined last month. They can grab it or no. I don't know that we could do that effectively, but at least to the first line and second line management people should know that why they are driving the team, where they are working for, and that particular problem should be a problem that is to be trackable and achievable. Don't tell that all the employees should be happy. Don't tell that all the customers should be referenceable and happy. These are not trackable things. You can put NPS scores, okay, net promoter
Yes.
scores, but
Net
that is
promoter
also not.
scores.
It's okay, but that's not accurate. So give them a trackable goal where they all focus on and drive the whole organization toward at least the top leadership, right? So they know why they are working hard, why they have to perform well, and give the win to them, right? When you go and achieve that goal, it must be a celebration for the whole organization, not just for me or my co-founders. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There are
The
usually three.
OKRs, you guys have to really just small teams, organizations, large teams. I could have a separate session on that because I've been to first year it was a failure for me. OKR, I overcomplicated it, I overread and everything. I overcomplicated it, went failure. Second year I managed it. This year, third year I'm trying and it is really working well.
Wow. I think we should have an exclusive session on this. I'm sure this would. I'm usually this three D's I'm super attracted to, which is called the destination. Fix your destination. When you fix your destination, you will be able to decide your direction. Otherwise, without a destination, you cannot know which direction to go in. And only when you have these two, you ultimately dedicate yourself, which is the third D, the dedication. So, destination, direction, and dedication, these three Ds are something which I always follow for our organization. When it comes to trainings which happen inside We Do, it's all about these three Ds. I think OKR
It's the
probably could
same thing. Same thing.
say,
You're on the dot. It's the same thing. And we
"Paka."
earlier we used to call North Star metrics. Remember, we used to talk a
Hmm.
lot about North Star metrics.
Not some
So
metrics, yes.
all those things we used to talk. But OKR is a process. We can talk North Star metrics and 3Ds. How do you implement it? You know
Implement it. Process,
that helps.
SOPs.
OKR really helps to implement it. To if Google can implement it, why can't we? Yeah. If
Wow.
the large organizations like Google can implement it.
Super. Nice. Yes, Preeti, over to you. Sonia, have you? Yeah.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm so
Yes,
sorry
please. Yes.
because people
Yeah.
are just
No
moving behind
problem.
there, so I have to be in a spot where you don't have to see a lot of people. So,
Not an issue. Yes, please go ahead.
So,
um,
as we correctly spoke of, sorry, you were saying?
no, no, please go ahead.
Yeah. So we discussed about how the strategies and all the working, but backing up this, do you think the clear communication is the key for the high performance when the team is concerned? And if so, then what are the actual strategies that the practices that you follow to have the right kind of communication within the team? Maybe I can start with Dr. Sonia.
Well, I think the question remains pretty much the same, right? I think,
Yeah.
and the answer will also be, see, when you're saying high performance team, and if you have to sort of do a lot of strategy to bring out performances, I think then you must have done something wrong in your hiring. I mean, if you have to like, see, there are days where you go down, you're not in a good day, you feel bogged out, you're having a personal life crisis. Those are different days, right? In my opinion, if you really have hired the right people and if you're doing the right leadership, yet you have to do strategy, it means you need to relook everything. You have to go back, erase, the board, and redo things, right? That's my basic principle. uh, However, in terms of reward, I think one holiday together, just relaxing, not talking about work at all. Um, that's see, I run a creative hub. We don't do, it's we don't do too technical things. We have to churn out the best ad campaigns. We want to do something that has a story. We're a storyteller creative hub, right? So it's all about story for us. uh, I make sure that people who joins my team are really loving the job and they want to see themselves somewhere with or without us. So if I really have to strategize a lot of things in terms of how do I get performances out of them, then I re-look at where I went wrong in terms of hiring and talking to the right people. It's very simple for me.
So you think that communication should be at the initial level and not throughout?
Yes, I think I take a lot of time while hiring. I think I do at least
Yeah.
4 conversation, and it's not like interviews also. I really go deep down, in terms of the goals,
Sure.
vision. Are you aligned with the DNA that I'm trying to create? Are you going to merge with the rest of the members? It's just not me that is important, right? Everyone from the office boy to the didi in the kitchen to everyone is important in the
Yeah.
organization. So are you going to blend in with each and everyone? If not, I also have learned how to identify really quickly because I was also in other organizations. So you see various spectrum of people, and that's what I feel. Communication, connection is very later. It bonds. Like I still talk to my mentors and boss until today, right? Because that's what they have sort of put passed down on me, and I try to do the same thing. And yeah, communication from day one. Try and deep down dive to the person. Very important, very very important, especially if you want to do something creative. I mean, for I don't understand about the tech and the other industry, but at least in my industry I feel like knowing the person and making sure that person is aligned to the DNA. And if you're strategizing, if you're really doing math over it, then it's not worth it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for your insight. Yes, Mr. Shriganash, would you like to give your input on this?
Yeah, I believe being aligned to the proper goals, the company goals, that's the key. That's the important thing. You have to get your priority state. You have to, be really clear on what you want to achieve, what the team wants to achieve, what the company wants to achieve. So if that's in process, then yes, definitely communication plays a very important role. But yeah, as Sonia rightly said, this all comes into effect when you're hiring somebody. So talent acquisition, getting the right people on board, that's very important. That's very important because you can train people, but it's very hard to change the mindset. If you hire a wrong person, it's very very hard to change their mindset. Yeah.
Sure.
So I think yes, getting the right people on board is a key.
Great. Great. Yes, Mr. Sandeep, over to you.
Actually, nothing to add this time. I think both Shri and
Sure.
Sonia's mentioned. I think you're right. Like, I mean, communication is key, but I think they hit the nail on the head, right? Like, you hire better, then it's not that communication will reduce. That the way you communicate with that person might change, might be more effective, right? We're talking about key things, and I think also generally just being aligned to that person and trying to figure out like who they are is also very useful. Like, we are dealing with a generation that's not just the way they are. I think just empathizing with who they are and all that stuff also it matters. But yeah,
Sure.
hire the right person. It's
That's the
actually
key.
very easy said, and it's a tough thing to do.
The toughest.
Sometimes
Yes.
it's very difficult to like the certain things. How do you pick attitude? I don't know. Love to hear from the group as well, right? Sometimes you throw in a few things and try to figure out. Because for me personally, a lot of the times I hire significantly for attitude, some part for skill, and other things can be everything else. Because that's what you want. If the ethos of the company is like that, you want to do that. But yeah, when you hire good people,
Also,
yeah.
also, how much will you communicate? Right? There is a, I think, saturation to that, and it doesn't work out. It becomes a very toxic cycle, in my opinion. So
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
And
Yes,
sometimes
Mr.
down the line, it will feel like micromanagement if you communicate a lot.
and it's
Absolutely.
artificial also at point, and the generation today is like, she's being fake, he's being fake, the manager is trying to be all hunky dory, inside,
Right.
you know the drill, right? So how much will you communicate? It's not cool, I think. I feel like
I guess
being,
today's generation is all about action also. They
yeah,
they would love to interact minimum and get
yes.
the things done. Yeah, I get that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Sriram. I guess you're mute. We can't hear you.
Sorry about it. Yes,
No worries.
communication definitely important. Hiring is important. Of course, is important. The question is about what are the obstacles of setting up an high performance team, right?
Yes.
Am I right? And I'll tell you this: setting high, just the word high performance, you go and give the goals to the team, which is definitely not possible to achieve, right? You just give them, go and give them something very tough to achieve. Now, not impossible, very tough to achieve. Probably you have a 10-member team and you give a goal where only two people can achieve it. You can't set a high performance team. At least 60% of the team should be able to achieve it, so that the 40% can reach nearby and everything, right? So in the aim of bringing in best performance, we shouldn't give them unrealistic goals. That's all. We have to be very realistic about
Yes. And as you correctly said, the obstacles, right? Obstacle during
it. Yeah, setting
managing
up
the high
wrong
performance.
goals, setting up
Yes.
wrong parameters for deciding high performance.
So let's that take that this question to the rest three of you. That what are your thoughts on the challenges that you may face? Yeah. Can we start with Mr. Sandeep this time?
Right. I think again, challenges. Sriram mentions it, right? Like goals. If
Yeah.
goals are not clear, if goals are ambiguous, you're going to fail. There's no doubt about it. Again, we all spoke about it several times. Bad communication. You're not
Sure.
communicating effectively with the team. And I think, see, generally sometimes, and I don't know if it's a generational thing. Certain generations are not so afraid of taking risks. Some generations are okay with taking risks. I think it's just creating an environment where it's okay to take a calculated risk is important.
Yes.
Right? Like because only then will you suddenly see innovation. Only then will you see things outside. Because otherwise, I mean, you're hiring. You have 3 brains or 4 brains or 20 brains in a team. What's the point in just one brain working when you have 20 of them who can actually contribute, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Figure that piece out. I think another challenge, and this sometimes will happen as you grow as an organization, silos. People are very comfortable being in their own box or working in their own teams and not open to sort of opening it up. So I think creating an environment where, as much as possible, you can try to break those silos. Be cognizant of that. Sometimes, and I think this is the real thing, right? Like burnout is a real thing. Uh,
Right.
People overdo stuff, and sometimes they're trying to just prove. And high achievers, they're coming out from IIT, IIM, like top ranker, and suddenly come in and they're thrown into this fire, and they have no clue, and they're just struggling, and they're overdoing a lot of this stuff. Sometimes recognizing that and telling them it's okay, take one step at a time, will help them as well, right? So I think just being aware of how things are, I think, will generally help.
Yes. Over to Mr. Dr. Sonia, please.
Well, for us, the challenge that I've seen a lot, and it's a little difficult to solve, is sometimes the best talent can bow down. The best, they can really have a bad face. Now, is that for a short period of time, or is it a intent that has changed? Because of fluctuation in mindset, or because of the environment that person is exposed to, and now you have taken a foundation so strong that you're connected to people. You want to make sure they're growing. Now, how do you make sure you're bringing that person back, or you're omitting that person in the most nicest manner, right? For me, that has been the challenge. For example, they say one grain of spoiled rice can spoil the whole plate of rice. So to sort of do that in the most positive manner, where the rest of the team is not being affected, and the person also goes from the organization to the next future in the most composed mindset. For me, culture is just not in the organization. I want to even part ways in the most in a nicer manner, in a way that they can come back again and be like, hey, I enjoyed working here, I learned this from that. So
Yeah.
when you do a lot of connection, and when you do all of this activity to build culture, uh, parting ways becomes very, very difficult, right?
Yes.
Whether in your own organization, whether you're managing. I used to manage team members of 80 in my previous organization, 80, 90 people. And um, when they used to exit, it used to be very emotional for me. And sometimes you had to take the hardest decision. You connect personally, but this person is spoiling the shit out of the whole mo, right? So
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
one challenge for me, and it still remains a challenge for me in my own organization.
So yes, as we said, that when you give that kind of a place and environment wherein the
Mm.
productivity is the highest, it's
Mm.
always going to be difficult for even the employees to leave. As Mr. Sriram was saying, that Google is providing so and so. I guess that's where one thing which just comes into my mind when we are talking about the same thing.
Correct, correct. And
Great.
tension, right? People changes. They get
Yeah.
exposed to a different environment. They
Sure.
changes, and there's nobody is wrong there. But then you gotta take decision for what is good for your people and your
Yeah, the
organization.
hardest one
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sri Ganesh. Would you like to have your words on this?
I think they have covered all the necessary points. I
I
think I
am
totally
sorry.
agree with. Yeah, I totally agree with
Yes.
Sandeep. Uh,
Yes.
the I think the for me it's the resistance to change. Like
Yeah.
people get too comfortable in what they do, and then they don't
Sure.
want to change. It happens a lot, and that's one of the things that I would like to change some people, but it doesn't happen.
Thank you. And going further today, as we spoke a lot about the AI, that the communication is not the key anymore, and AI has taken over. So, how do you think that the technology and digital tools have taken and can enhance the performance activity in the team? Do you think that will make a lot of difference? Can we start with Mr. Sandeep over this time?
Yeah, I think just with the tools that are available today, you can get a lot more insight into how people are performing and all of that stuff, right? Like, I think that will really help. Being able to collaborate, platforms that can help to collaborate. So that whole piece of communication, right? Like, not every communication is a meeting, can be a Slack
Yeah.
group,
Yeah.
can be a email, can be WhatsApp, whatever. To be able to do that, platforms can help you gamify some of this stuff, right? Like today, if you're working in customer support, you want to gamify that environment, you can gamify that environment.
Sure.
And I'm doing a quick product plug as well. So you can also look at things like career paths, right? We have a product in Business that helps with that. But essentially, if you can show people the visibility of what their next role would look like, what skills they need to acquire for that next role, whether it's technical or behavioral, sometimes even that clarity can help, right? So today there are tools that can do all of this stuff and more. And I think it's up to managers to sort of pick up these tools and sort of use them as well. There are a lot of other platforms that can help with rewarding, rewarding, quick recognition, all of that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, might as well use it.
Great. Mr. Srignesh, we would like to have your insight this
Yeah,
time.
so it's basically
Yeah.
AI is it's for performance dashboards and visualization tools. You get to understand what you have done. Your team can see what you have done. There should be peer to peer rewards. Then you can see the metrics, what you have achieved, uh, and the other things that is it.
Hello. Is Mr. Sorry, I don't think so. Mr. Sriganesh is online. So can we have Mr. Sriram until he joins back?
Sure.
Sure.
We are just seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to
Yeah.
AI. This is a revolution that didn't even start yet. I remember
Sure.
back in '98 when I started my career, when I saw the first mobile phone, seeing a phone without a cable where I can talk to somebody, it was magical.
Yes.
That's nothing today. And if somebody would have told me you could see someone like this sitting somewhere and you can talk real time, I would have called it as a joke, right? So that's how it is. This is just the start of the greater revolution. All our works, the whatever we are doing today, it will change. It will not be the same. It will, and again, I'm not talking about it in a negative way. Trust me, it is not negative. It's extremely
Yeah.
positive. We will be able to do more than what we are doing today. That's how it is. People generally have a kind of they say that AI might affect your job or your survival or anything. No, you will be able to
Absolutely.
do more informed decisions. Correct. You can really say, I'll tell you, right? We are talking about culture and everything, and you just take your Google Hangouts, my same time, or Slack, and just click a button, and it will tell you what's your organization culture. You might think whatever your organization culture is. It will exactly tell you what your organization culture, what's important, and what's important for your employees or your team. It I'm just saying, it's all very, we are just in the scratch of the whole thing. And everybody's job, irrespective of their profession, teacher or even a pilot, you call anybody, anything, it will change. It will change
Yeah.
for good, and we are just at the tip of the revolution. And I'm too novice to judge anything about AI today. I'm actually working on it, but the more I get into that, I know that I don't know anything. It's something that
Okay.
very, I mean,
I
starting
think
to
it's
learn at
more
the age of
about
45 is tough.
optimization and better utilization of any resource for that matter. Um,
Any resource,
any
any
like
resource.
today the number of uh, forget a basic LinkedIn post. If you know to really prompt well to a chat GPT, it thinks better than what we can actually think for ourselves.
I was
So
just going to
I
ask
think
that
it's
question.
made it,
Yeah.
so it's all about any question, even biggest solutions. I'm sure instead of calling a consultant, you ask ChatGPT in four different ways and keep
Correct.
reprobing it again and again. You get the best solution possible. So I think AI is elevating the way we do anything. So
And this
it's
is just a start, Kadambari.
just
Nothing.
the beginning. I know.
Just
I'm
the beginning.
Yes.
pretty
And
scary, but yes, I think we
40.1%. That's all I can
exactly,
tell.
yeah.
And it's all to do with the
Especially,
marketing also, it's all to do with the marketing also. Since the very start, AI has been marketed like it will take over the world, it will take over all the jobs. So it's all to do with marketing as well. You see
it's
the movie
evolution.
Terminator, you see the movie Terminator rising up. People think the AI will do that.
I'm sure that it won't happen in our lifetime. I'm not saying that it will
100%.
never, it will not happen in our lifetime. That's all we can guarantee. Uh, so
Interesting.
I'll tell you this, right? Okay, there won't be any routine jobs, routine work. Say somebody is coming in and doing the same thing every day, right? Without
Monotonous.
monotonous, that won't be there. Anything, either physical as well as mental, both kind of work, it won't be there. That's the
Perfect.
first step, I will tell you.
Nice. Yes, Preeti, over to you.
yes, yes. Doctor, will you like to have any inputs on that? You're mute.
I'm not very tech savvy. I like to do things manually, but I've really learned how to optimize AI. Uh, For us, we use sort of only one tool to sort of optimize the organization. We only use Notion, and we try and make sure everything is done through that. And
Yeah.
my designers and my creative team sort of optimizes mid journey, and of course we use a lot of chat gpt. We can't do without that. I'm very honest
Yeah.
about it. But as you know, figuring out the best tools and sort of minimizing it, because a lot of cook can also spoil the broth. So I think same goes in AI as well, right? Because we have to have a very focused mindset when you're creating assets for brands, and you need to be very authentic, organic. Also, I think it's just a help. But if you want to create great communication and great creative work, then I think a lot of human aspect is also required. So I would say 70-30 usage is what I recommend for now. But tomorrow, if something that really really optimizes even the human mind, then I'm up for using. I'm not the best at
See,
Can I add
technically,
something?
I think
I
it's
want to add something.
Yes, please,
Yes.
Sriram.
So to Dr. Sonia, right? In healthcare, the problem we are trying to solve, it's a ML angles, it's a US-based AI model company. We are working with them. What we are trying to do for an Australian group of hospitals, we just give the report. It will give the diagnosis and the prescription and the treatment. This is something we are
Yes.
working on right now.
Sriram,
This is the first
the
step in
phrase
healthcare.
I wanted to use is it actually helps us to do data based decision making, data
Yes, yes,
driven decision making. So, most of the times, it cuts on assumptions, human errors on data. So, especially when we come to, like we were discussing in the earlier conversation earlier, sometime, we thought about, anybody who's the boss once upon a time was actually recognized, but it's not going to be, you woo the boss, but probably he can take you out for a drink or a dinner, but nothing more because there is nothing here in the system. So it's going to be database decision making, and I think AI or any technology for that matter, it gets it to a lot of precision. No, the mistakes and especially the assumptions are totally cut. So I think it's so important, and if we don't adapt, sooner or later, I think we are going to be lost. We're absolutely going to be redundant. Yeah.
don't worry, you cannot be without
Ignore.
adapting. You cannot ignore. You have to adapt. Everybody has
Yes.
to, and
Yeah.
it will happen. It will happen smoothly. There won't be any forcing thing happening on it.
Yes.
It will
Yes.
happen
Yes.
smoothly
Yes.
because it's going to make our job easier. It's not going to make. You're not going to
Right.
code a
Just
program,
that's
AI program. You know what I mean?
See,
So it will make our
example,
jobs easier.
Sriram, this gets me to this. You will be in the sense like today, I think we have these bots. If you pass a Reliance store or a Mac store, you immediately get a ting on your mobile. It's
Yes,
like you're already captured. You're done.
yes,
Whether you like it or
yes.
not, it's there.
It's
Like a
there.
toll, you cross a toll, already your money is gone.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes, yes,
you will be pulled into it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Preeti, I think we have to wrap
like
up quickly. So, yeah.
yes,
Yes, I
yes,
got a
yes.
hard
So
stop. I have a hard stop. Sorry, I have a call at 8
Sure.
p.m.
Sure, sure, sure.
I'm
Yes,
really sorry.
we
I'm
are
really
running.
sorry, guys.
We have to
no,
finish it by 7:30, but quickly wrap up, Preeti.
I guess yes, we can just have the last question. Having that, what innovative approach can organization have to use this kind of performance-based program, for the employee? And then we can just last
So,
question
Shriram, if
maybe.
you got to leave, probably you can just quickly
You can
do
yes.
this and you can
So I
come.
don't
Yeah.
under, I didn't get the question. Sorry.
I guess when we are talking about those innovative things, right, AI and all, so what more innovative strategies one can use to have this high performance for the team and entire organization?
See, I'll tell you from my job. I can't
Yeah,
voice for other professions. For me, like it can reduce my developers work by 70%. Earlier,
yeah,
the thing what a developer takes 1 week to do, they could complete it in 2 days with low errors, with absolute quality. Right?
yeah,
This is something we are going to see across everything. I am a sales and marketing guy, basically. So I see a lot of innovation happening in the marketing perspective, which is saving a lot of time. We are already using a lot of tools around it. It's simple, right? And we don't use ChatGPT. It's a very strong thing that I tell my sales and marketing guys to stop using ChatGPT for blogs and emails, right? I don't allow them to do that because it is very obvious these days,
Repeats.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it repeats and it is very obvious. The moment the other guy reads, they know it's not. The personal touch is lost. Probably it will evolve in the future, but right now it is more mechanical. So I don't. Once in a while they can use it if it is complicated, not for everything. But marketing tools are enabled a lot. My developer environment is changing. Atlassian is rocking there. Amazon Bedrocks are rocking there. So it is going to make my job faster, and uh, and it's going to make our job efficient when it comes to my space, tech space.
sure, sure.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you so
Yes,
much,
Dr.
guys.
Soni. Yeah.
Sorry, Kadambari, I have to move on.
No, no, no.
Sorry.
Perfect, Sriram. I think you can. We are way
Thank
ahead the
you.
time. So
Thank you,
please stop.
Dr. Sonia. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sri Ganesh. Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you
you.
all. And if possible, whenever you're in Chennai, just drop into my office and we'll have another chat. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Done,
Great.
done.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sriram. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Yes, Dr. Sonia, over to you for the same question. Yes.
So the question was, what innovation do we bring into
Yes.
organization? Um, well, like I said, innovation is very subjective, right? Innovation could be innovation which is human-led innovation that's AI-enabled. For me, when I say innovation, it's all about evolving. So I'm just going to bring in what Black and Beige does, right? So we call it a creative hub that's always evolving. We adapt with what's what's going to happen in the world, and maybe you walk hand in hand with it, or you try and adapt it a little earlier before everyone else. So for me, innovation in my organization is about evolution, sort of evolving with what's going to work for the work that we do. So always ready and having an open mind is innovation for me. It could be AI, it could be human led, it could be anything, but having an open mind to evolution is innovation for us. It's a mindset, to be
Great.
honest.
That's
Thank you
yes.
so much. Thank you. Yes,
All
Mr.
right,
Sandeep.
I also job. I have to actually go to a different place. Uh,
Sure, sure. Yes.
Sure. Thank
Announce
you.
it
Thank
back.
you. Thank you, Dr. Sonia. Thank you very much. So
Thank
we're
you.
almost at the wrap up. So, yes,
Yes.
Sandeep, over to you.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just again tools, the usage of something like AI to help you find, I mean, just make teams more productive by, in fact, I'm probably a little opposite to Sriram. I actually encourage teams to use not necessarily chat GPT, but there are better tools that can help you write better content and all that stuff. In fact, one of the hiring recs I put out there was a content writer who can use a tool like
In
Write
fact,
Sonic or
Sandeep, what we
Qualys.
used to do is whenever I use ChatGPT, there are some words which I mandate change.
Yeah.
Trailblazer, blazers.
Yeah.
The minute we see that word, it's like
No, you
it's
know.
definitely ChatGPT. So like change that word. So the couple of words you change, it's like done. So yeah.
I think just using, there is technology today that can help you make a high performance team. So I think just knowing what's there, utilizing technology, I think all of that is super important as well. But yeah.
Mm, mm.
Great.
I just sorry guys. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. 10 seconds. I didn't do my job. I'm a sales and marketing guy. I'm really sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
fantastic.
contest
Welcome back.
contest tech as on the fly dot stream. It's one of the leading project competitor to StreamYard that we are using now. It's free for visionary business women. Please come and use it. Yeah, it's exactly a competition
100%.
to StreamYard.
Thank you.
So
I'll
my
definitely
team
touch
doesn't know
base
that I'm
with
using
you.
StreamYard to have this discussion. Yeah. Okay.
We're
Thank
sorry
you.
we made you do this.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's a lighter note. Please use it, and you can use it. I mean, it's absolutely free for you. Remember.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
Thank
so
so
you.
much.
much. Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
So that's collaboration. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
That's a great job. Well done, Sriram.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So, yes, over to you, Shri Ganesh.
I completely agree with Sandeep. I think AI is the way to go. There are a lot of platforms that you can use to get your job done, to get your work done. So if there's something easier way to work around, then why not? It's as simple as that.
Sure.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Thank
So
you.
I would like to just put this a point out here, especially when it comes to innovation. I think bottom line, looking at performance, okay, anything that is not income producing or harmony producing, it's unwanted element. So constantly watching and making sure that we constantly have a watch on what is necessary and what is not necessary, and making the necessary inclusions and making the necessary exclusions on a periodic basis, I think will cater to all the necessary innovations for your organization. It's need based. So thank you, Preeti, and I
Thank
think
you.
we've come to the fag end of
Thank
the
you.
sriram. Thank you, Shri. Thank you, Sandeep, and thank you,
Thank you so much, Mr.
Ram
Sandeep.
and
Thank you,
Doctor.
Mr. Sri Ganesh.
Pleasure to be
Yes.
here. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, and to all of you who are watching this, thank you so much. This was an excellent panel, and most of us growing entrepreneurs, the most problematic place is your team and their performance. I think today we had enough and more inputs from all of them, and I'm sure you will be able to figure out your way from here. Thank you, and we will meet you once again on Monday at yet another mastermind session. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us
Thank you
here
so
today.
much.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye.